Time now for the latest in your eNCA Money Desk. Rafua Matena is standing by. She's here in studio with us. Rafua, for me, it was Davi Rert, the economist, the chief economist, saying going to WEF for South Africa is a waste of time. Yep. Those were his words, and that was scary for me. But of course, especially for small business that is hoping that there could be something that changes the trajectory of South Africa right now.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree with Davi Rert. There's a lot to deal with back here at home, and small businesses being the one of them, as you say, Masako. And that is what we're focusing on this hour, in that blackouts are an assault on every front for small businesses in South Africa. But the Small Business Development Department is looking at solutions to lessen the load on them. SMMEs are particularly hard hit by continued power outages. Now, since many can't afford to buy alternative power sources like generators, they are forced to pause, most of all, trading during those blackouts. Mxolisi Matshamba, who's the CEO of the Small Enterprise Finance Agency, joins us this afternoon for more. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon, Mr. Matshamba. Now, the department did indicate that it did conduct some research into the many issues that affect businesses when there are power cuts. But in terms of this plan that you're looking to derive to create this relief package, what exactly is it going to look like, and what timeframes have you given yourselves in terms of completing this package?
Good afternoon to you. Thank you for the opportunity. We conducted research late last year. It was a snapshot survey, basically, to look at the book that we have as an entity working with the Department of Small Business Development and the Small Enterprise Finance Agency to ascertain the impact that this load shedding has on our clients, number one. Number two, to be able to ascertain what kind of support are they looking for in order for them to navigate and survive these extended load shedding what we call episodes that the economy is facing. The outcome of that survey showed us that the majority of our businesses were really hit hard by load shedding because they had to reduce their operating hours. For example, a business that operates ordinarily for a period of 8.5 hours a day was forced now to operate between 2 and 4 hours a day, which meant that their productivity levels were slashed by close to more than 50%. And that hit their bottom line hard. And that was also reflected by their inability to service their loans with us. For example, we saw our collections rate dropping from 75% down to 42% in November, December. And we realized that there is a serious challenge. Our businesses are drowning, and we needed to come up with an intervention to actually assist these businesses to navigate that terrain. Then the Minister of Small Business Development convened the team and established this task team to look at some of these interventions that can help our businesses to really be able to operate during these trying times. And now we are working now together with the other players in the space, the Innovation Agency, your CSIR, the Department of Mineral Resources, and we're going to be roping in some industry players in the energy space so that the interventions that we put in place are sharp and pointed. They are actually a fit for purpose for these, what we call enterprises. Yeah. Because what we don't want to see happening is a situation where you use a spray gun approach to say you're going to provide a generator for everybody. And yet we know that the energy prices are skyrocketing. So you need different technologies for different enterprises. So what we're looking at, for example, is to say, if you are running a light manufacturing business, what kind of energy source do you want? If you're running, that is vis-a-vis a person who's running a restaurant, you need a completely different technology from a person who's running a small manufacturing, what we call establishment. We started engaging this week, and the minister will be actually consulting also the National Treasury to see to it what resources can be put in place to assist the businesses that are affected in this regard. We expect that the minister in the next week or two will be actually announcing the detailed intervention and the funding options that would be made available to SMMEs to assist them actually to navigate this.
Yeah, Mr. Matshamba, I want to come in there in terms of those funding opportunities that will present themselves after that meeting with National Treasury. Will this be in the form of loans once again, or will these be full grants that will be granted alongside other resources, like you mentioned, generators or whatever energy technologies any particular business would require? And in that, if you could, will there be a specific criteria that you'll be looking out for?
Correct. You know, we are going to dig deep to the experience that we had during what called a COVID-19 shutdown, where we assisted businesses to actually navigate the storm during the shutdowns that were induced by COVID-19. What we want to see happening is that we're going to cluster these businesses. If you're in the restaurant space, if you're in the light manufacturing space, if you're running your small business at home, what kind of technology are we going to be providing? Because we know that if, for example, you are paying electricity at a price of about 1,200 rands per month, you're looking at plus or minus 2 kilowatts of electricity, which may cost us about 63,000 rands. But if you're running an entity that consumes electricity at more than 7,000 rands per month, you're looking at plus or minus 20 kilowatt hours of electricity, which may cost us about 340,000 rands. So we're going to be looking at such interventions, and that will be informed, number one, by an analysis and an assessment of your energy consumption per entity. That will be done by actually certified experts in the energy space. On the basis of that analysis of your electricity consumption, we then say which technology is suitable for you. For example, if you have a person who's running a restaurant, basically what you need there is your LPG gas and the stove to continue cooking. And you also need maybe solar to keep the lights on and also keep the refrigerators chilled. But if you're running a light manufacturing industry, what we call a set establishment, you may need a different type of technology. And these consultations that we're doing with the energy experts is to ensure that we provide a fit-for-purpose intervention. Coming back to your question again, we will be looking at blended finance options, for example, where a portion of the loan is a grant, so that we don't overgear these businesses that are already burdened by debt because of these reductions in their operations and the bottom lines. And in the informal business space, we will propose to the Treasury that we look, for example, at providing a bigger chunk of a grant to allow them really to sustain, because some of them really, they are not at the level where they will be able to afford a massive loans to operate. For example, there was a mention of a guy who was running an ice cream business in Soweto. His ice cream is actually melting because of load shedding. What kind of technology you need for that guy? You may need a solar or a generator. You may need generators that are LPG driven or diesel driven. So those are the workings and the modalities that we're busy looking at, so that every intervention that we put in place, it is fit for purpose, because you don't want them to drown in expensive diesel or petrol, because that will make them uncompetitive in the industry. So we need to make sure that as we intervene, they remain competitive.
Thank you very much for those insights. That is Mr. Mxolisi Matshamba, who's the CEO of the Small Enterprise Finance Agency. Hopefully we get to catch up with you soon when you have further details of those interventions. Masakho.